Like, hey, Dan Dubois, Canadian Combat Coalition, also known as C3, and we're still here in Edmonton. Awesome little city, a little bit of history. I used to live here from 1980 to 1985, so I'm a little bit familiar with the city. And I hate to say something, but I've noticed some drastic changes, and not for the better. I'm noticing that the city is in terrible disrepair. Uh, If anything, when I lived here, and it was a long time ago, I lived here, 1980 to 1985, the city was in much better condition. The roads were in better shape, and it was cleaner. And there was more flowers and stuff. I know we're not at the time of flowers, but I can see how many flower pots are sitting around, which is hardly none. Where and the foliage, you can tell hasn't been maintained down around the river like it used to be. They used to groom that area, really, really nice. I always found that Alberta was above other province for maintenance. You guys have these big, big, long ditches between the highways, and I was always impressed how these were meticulously maintained and mowed. Now we're not here in summer, so and it looks like these ditches are still maintained. So I'm not taking everything away from this city, but from a bird's eye view and from a person, I've been here back in 2010 as well, but I didn't spend as much time in Edmonton. I got to spend a couple days here now, and I got to drive around lots and look at some of the old sites. And there's, without a shadow of a doubt, your government hasn't been looking after you. Okay, our government hasn't been looking after us any better in Ontario. But yeah, it's again, you're seeing that. I hate seeing this government. They've got money to throw away, especially the federal government, support anybody on the planet except for Canadians. And another thing, I'm just going to go through, recap a little bit what's happened since we've been here. Uh, the support from the other groups, awesome. Awesome patriots. I met some awesome friends out here, people that I've been friends with for a long, long time on Facebook. Finally got to shake their hands, give them a hug, and I'll tell you, I met some awesome, upstanding, 100% real patriots here. It's awesome. When we arrived here Friday, I guess the rally was supposed to go till 9 o'clock, but for some reason got shut early. We arrived at 6:30. We were under the impression it was from 6 till 9, but from what I was told, it started much, much earlier, so it ended much earlier. Well, when we got there, we were almost accosted, I guess is the word I could say, by almost 200 Antifa. I want to address Antifa. Antifa is a real problem here too, not just out east. Everybody knows that Toronto's got a real Antifa problem, but here in Edmonton as well, I've seen an Antifa problem. Same mentality, totally uneducated, low IQ, it seems, can offer no arguments whatsoever, except for just yelling and bullying and disrespect. We walked in there, and like I say, we're almost accosted by a 200, and I think there was six of us alone against these 200 Antifa. And I had no problem addressing them, and I got to say I was really impressed that when I would talk to them, all 200, like an audience, would actually stop and listen to what I had to say, and then start again with their yelling and screaming and calling us racists and Nazis. At one point, we had a girl read out something that she'd read on our page, on our C3 page, and she says, "This is on your page," and she read it, and it was terrible stuff. I really didn't like anything that she was saying. So when she was finished, I said, "That's on our page?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "That's terrible. I don't agree with anything that was said there." She's, "Well, why is it on your page?" I said, "Because we believe in free speech. That's what it's about." I says, "I don't agree with everything we approve on the page, but one thing we do agree on is free speech. That's what this is about." And I told him, I says, "You're trying to tell us that we don't have free speech." I says, "I appreciate that you're here yelling and screaming. You're allowed the free speech, not a problem." And if anything, we remained calm and cool and offered some intelligent conversation and some intelligent arguments. The police chief or police that was in charge at the time, asked me what's C3 all about. And when I read my mission statement, he complimented me and said, you know, that's really well written, really well spoken. And he more or less agreed with everything we said. You know, it's not about racism. It's about, federal law. This is what Antifa doesn't seem to get. People are walking across our borders illegally. Borders that were put there by our forefathers. Some of these people died to have borders implemented around this great country. So here we have borders, but they're being disrespected by illegals, and it don't matter what race they are. And even if they're white, you're an illegal, I don't care what color you are. If even the whitest guy on the planet, bleached, blonde, blue-eyed guy walks across that border illegally, he's not allowed in the country. It is what it is. Canadians have to walk across the border with documentation. You live in this country and you can't leave it or come back into it without proper documentation and crossing at a legit border. But we're allowing people to walk across the border illegally. That's what we don't like. Uphold our federal laws, and all the other issues, the carbon tax and what have you. So enough on the politics. Let's talk about Edmonton. Another thing I noticed about Edmonton that I thought, we have a guy with us that's in a wheelchair. Everybody knows Roger Rowan, the real raw dog. He's in a wheelchair. You know what seems to be a real problem in this town is there's a very big lack of wheelchair accessible facilities. It's unreal. And I'll tell you something. We stayed at a hotel here that has no wheelchair accessible rooms whatsoever. They have one that's under renovations, they tell us. They give us a measurement for the door. We measure Roger's chair and we figure, okay, the chair will get in the room. We figure, can he get in the bathroom from there? Well, if the wheelchair fits inside the door, it'll fit inside the bathroom door, but no guarantees. I booked this room over the telephone with my visa. I'm very well aware that we booked for 2 nights, but that I will lose the first night if accommodations aren't satisfactory. Well, accommodations weren't satisfactory. You can maybe get Roger's wheelchair in that room, but you can't go anywhere. And we can't be manhandling Roger and carrying him around in and out of the bathroom. So we go downstairs and they're telling us, you're on the hook. You got to pay for it tonight. So I drive around, and that's why I know there's a lack of facilities here. I drive around with Roger till 4:30 in the morning looking for proper accommodation so that he can go to the bathroom so we can go to bed. So disgusted. Poor Roger, after that ordeal, when we finally do find a bathroom that does have accommodations that a wheelchair can get in, and after he's got to clean it because it's disgustingly dirty, and he finally gets to go to the bathroom, this guy is so peeved off that he ends up sleeping in the truck that night. So we're up really early the next day because we know poor Roger had to sleep in the truck. Well, when we're having the breakfast in the morning, we find out that hotel does have a bathroom that Roger's wheelchair fits in, but it's in the restaurant.
It's locked.
And when we got there that night, the restaurant was closed. And because the restaurant is closed, the staff never even offered us the opportunity to use that bathroom. Because I went right to the front desk and I said, isn't there a bathroom somewhere in this hotel that will accommodate a wheelchair? Doesn't have to be in the room. We can wheel them around. Nope, nowhere. We check a room upstairs. We walk right into this type of little ballroom upstairs. And there's a bathroom in there, but it's full of stalls. And they're telling us, what the hell were you doing in there? Well, we're looking for a bathroom. So security comes up, follows us around. We're looking for bathrooms. Never did they ever offer the bathroom that they could have just unlocked the restaurant and let Roger walk through and use that restaurant bathroom.
The restaurant was open, Dan, she said.
Not when we got there. I know that for a fact because I argued that. So the restaurant was closed when we got there because we got there late. It was like 1:30 in the morning. So, not a problem that the restaurant's closed, but you trying to tell me that you never had the presence of mind of saying, let's open the restaurant bathroom so this gentleman can go to the bathroom? No, we drive around till 4 o'clock in the morning. And I made the manager aware of this the next day, and he still refuses to refund our money. And I'm not going to say the name of the hotel because they might look at this as slander, and we've had enough issues to this point. So, and I'm only allowed to say this because Roger finally, and I'll tell you something, the Edmonton Inn has got beautiful accommodations for wheelchair patient people. You want to talk a beautiful hotel, an awesome lobby, fantastic reception, all the facilities that one needs to bring your baggage up to your rooms, and for a modest $110 for the night. You know, we only saved $20 at the other place. And I'll tell you something, wasn't the cleanest in my opinion, wasn't the prettiest, that's for sure. And, you know, uh, totally mistreat their guests in my opinion. So I highly endorse the Edmonton Inn, I'll tell you that. Beautiful hotel for reasonable rates. And if you've never been in that lobby, I'll tell you, it's a work of art. It's really, really nice. So, if anything, we're having a send off today, this afternoon, at a local establishment. And I'm not going to say where it is because we don't need no Antifa crap. The rally yesterday ended up being we started at Rachel Notley's office, then we went to Sir Winston Churchill Square, then we went to the legislative building where Antifa was. The groups and Joey D and that kind of tried to confuse Antifa, and they did a good job of it because there was very low numbers of Antifa only at the legislative building. And then after the rally, after the police tell us that we've got to leave because I guess there was, and you might have seen on the radio, I asked, is Antifa going to have to leave too, or is it just us? And he says, yeah, oh no, Antifa is going to leave as well. So supposedly Antifa had to leave after we did. But we had to leave, he tells us, because someone had applied for a legitimate um, permit to be there while we were there. So we were occupying a space that a permit had been approved for. So if this is all true, fine, we left. But when we left, we got divided. We left using ramps because we got Roger with the wheelchair, and the other patriots went up the stairs. Well, they got accosted. One girl got attacked by a guy, hit her right in the head with her flagpole, her Canada flagpole, hit her right in the head. Antifa guy. And so the Patriots, again, were attacked, physical violence by Antifa. So I'm also making this video to endorse what Rick Boswick and the Faith Goldie and the people out east are doing. They've actually gone to the RCMP and have filed a complaint and are trying to take legal action against Mayor Tory, who has called the Patriots white supremacists. Yeah, that's right. That's what your politicians, people we elect and pay, that's how they treat their citizens and their taxpayers. They call them names. And they call them names that aren't fitting to what we are. We're not white supremacists. We're people that care about Canada's future in all respects, regardless of the color of the people that are in the country or regardless of the color that are coming into the country. All we want is you come in through the front door, you're properly vetted, and when you live in this country, we don't change this country for your laws. You start abiding by our laws. You don't have to assimilate. You can integrate. You can keep your beliefs. All your religious beliefs and customs are fully allowed in this country. But you must obey our laws, and you can't be changing our laws. And I don't like that all these immigrants are getting into our government, infiltrating the government, and trying to change laws to make our country be more like the country that they left. Does that make any sense? So this is an issue, okay? That's got to be stopped, and that's why patriots are standing up. So with all that said, our visit so far to Edmonton's been wonderful because, there's the people are what makes the city. It's not the cement. and it's not the roads, and it's not the maintenance or the cleanliness of the city. It's the people. And I'll tell you something, the people of Edmonton are very, very welcoming and very beautiful people. I know I lived here for 5 wonderful years, and it was a wonderful opportunity that I was allowed to travel across the country and find employment and support myself, in this great country. That's why unity of the provinces is so important. Yes, let's take some power away from the federal government and give it back to the provinces. Let's let the provinces rule themselves by the citizens. So, with all that said, I want to really thank Sean, and Sean is our host, our wonderful host. We're going to switch that around. That's Sean. And Sean uh, was one of the nicest hosts I've ever encountered, I'll tell you. Awesome guy. I mean, cooked breakfast, The guy's a wonderful gentleman. I had never met him before, but guess what? He comes from Chelmsford, where I live. Yeah. I saw him and I telling Dan, I said, I've seen this guy. I've seen this guy. And sure enough, I've seen this guy because this guy used to come into my store when I had my store in Chelmsford. He's Chelmsford, you're born, raised in Jemmy, eh? Yeah, born, raised in Chelmsford. So it's a small, wonderful country. Here, our wonderful host is an Ontario guy from Chelmsford. Awesome. It's just unreal. And that's that. And I'll tell you something. There's a lot of people from Ontario here. Lots of people. I was one of them. And something that I've noticed, and it's great. I've never seen so many Alberta plates as I have as in the recent months around Sudbury and all over Ontario. We're seeing a big influx of Calgary plates. Why? Because these guys are moving over to Calgary to work. I mean, Albertans are workers. Alberta's not asking for any handouts. Alberta's asking to go back to work. And that's more than we can say for many provinces. Because we know many of these provinces are surviving on handouts. It is what it is. They have no industry. Government has, basically forsaken their people and isn't helping them sustain themselves. Things like a pipeline would be a pretty good idea, I think. Geez, how did the Saudis get rich? Pipelines. Yep. The Saudis know how to move their oil and get it to market, and it made them rich. Now they're a dominating player on the planet, trying to change everybody into their prehistorical beliefs. Some of them. The extremists. Let's dot that I and cross that T. I hate being misquoted that I'm always painting people with the same brush, because that's not what we do. So anyways, I've bored you enough. Look forward to some more videos this afternoon. We're going to be doing some videos. I'm hoping Mike Traherne. Mike, I'm hoping you're going to join us out there. I know Jesse Dallas Hills is going to be there, and I invited Winnie and Joey D, and I'm hoping that they'll all join us at this wonderful little place where we can do a few last videos as C3 leaves the wonderful province of Alberta. Take care, folks. Ciao. C3, let's correct that. C3 East is leaving the wonderful province of Alberta.
Rules.
Because C3 West is here and here to stay. Take care.